Welcome to step 5. You're almost there. This step determines how much you'll charge your customers. The first option here is to sell by square foot. Here you will enter your selling price per square foot for the material. ActionFlow will then apply that number to the total square footage of the quoted tops to calculate the material price for your customer. For example, if we set this at $50 a square foot, and when we quote the job, it's 25 square feet, the material charge would come out to $1,250, which is 50 times 25. ActionFlow does give you the option to separate material charges from labor charges. If you'd like to include your labor and material charges together, we recommend using the category feature in step 2 to do this and sell by the square foot. That way you can easily set one price for a group of colors. Another option here is to sell by the slab. With this option, we have two choices. We can apply a default margin, or we can select to apply a custom margin. Let's start with the default margin. Since I haven't set the default margin yet, when I click on the bubble, a pop-up will appear. This explains how the default margin works. The key thing to know is once you've set the default margin, it applies to all items you've chosen to price by the slab using that margin. This can't be changed without updating all open quotes tied to the default margin. In this pop-up, you'll also see a link to our margin and markup chart in the knowledge base. This is really handy if you're thinking in terms of markup, but want to understand what that equals in margin. If you'd like to set a default margin, you'll click that blue yes button, enter your percentage, and then clicking save. You'll notice now that the default margin is displaying right here. If you'd rather set a custom margin for specific materials, you can do that by choosing this option and entering the percentage you want. Keep in mind that using a custom margin will override the default margin for the products that you've selected over here. Lastly, you'll also see an option to assign categories to your selected colors. These categories come from the list you created back in step 2. And you can select the appropriate category from the list. When you're ready, go ahead and click the green arrow to send the item or items over to your price list grid. That we'll be walking through in step 6.